Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch, a two-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock.
Hey, the Pitch Clock is back.
Hi, everybody.
That's Chris. We don't have Taylor with us this week. He will be back here on the Pitch Clock.
Taylor's not here, but we've swiftly replaced him with
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Ethan Badowski is going to be your trivia host this week. Ethan, are you mentally prepared for this challenge?
I'm very excited. I also do a Harry Carey, by the way.
Let's hear it.
Hi, everybody.
It's worse than Chris's. We will have our 2025 MLB expert coming up in just a moment. But Ethan, Taylor's trivia, what do we got this week?
Boys, I'm looking at this sheet.
Now, is this, I want to know.
Taylor's
is this,
done it again.
Okay, this is Taylor created. This is not
this is
you
Taylor
getting
created.
the assignment.
This
I
is
trust
Taylor
this more
created.
now.
Taylor created.
This is just straight trivia. We're going to go back and forth. You will have a chance to steal if your opponent gets the question wrong.
Course.
There are 10 questions. It'll be the most points at the end of the 10 questions. Now, what I'm going to tell you is every answer to these questions is a Rookie of the Year. I'm going to start with Jeremy, and then we're going to go to Chris.
You're doing great so far.
The first question.
Thank you.
In 2004, this Colorado Rocky pitcher became the only pitcher in history to hit a home run off of Hall of Famer Greg Maddux.
I mean, there's only one obvious guess to this. I know you're up, so go.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one.
Don't take it. Save it for me.
Ubaldo Jimenez.
Oh, wow. That was not what I was going to say.
That is not the correct answer.
See, the guy that I'm thinking of, I think was played in late 90s.
Jimenez is the only Rockies pitcher that I can think of.
So
which is
there's-
why that happened.
I can think of a Rockies pitcher who was a really good hitter.
So I have a producer note in here from Taylor.
Yeah.
Want to get this in here. In his major league debut on August 23rd, 2001, this player hit a home run and tossed a complete game shutout, becoming the first major leaguer to accomplish that feat.
That would have been good to know before I guessed.
I did not know that this guy I don't even imagine ever being good enough to throw a complete game no-hitter, but I'm sure he just did. I'm going to just go Mike Hampton.
The answer was Jason Jennings. I'm new to it.
Jennings.
The answer was Jason Jennings.
I think Jason Jennings was on this list months ago when we were we were looking for some Rocky rookie. I think it was Rookie of the Year.
It might have been the Rocky Rookie of the Year.
And we were just like, who the hell is that guy?
Hey, Pitch Clock fans, find that and tell us what we got wrong with Jason Jennings last time.
Yeah.
Chris, you're up.
In 1981, this player was the only player to ever win both Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young in the same season.
And 81, obviously. This is, Nolan Ryan.
Not Nolan Ryan.
Where did this 1981 come out of nowhere?
There's no way. Is it Tom Seaver?
Nolan Ryan made his major league debut in 1966. It's not Tom Seaver.
That's too late, too, yeah.
The answer is Fernando Valenzuela.
Man, this is a nightmare.
These are getting a little tough. All right, number 3. The Mariners won back-to-back Rookie of the Years in 2000 and 2001. A reliever and an outfielder. You have to name both of them.
Yeah, I know. So Ichiro is the outfielder.
Correct.
You have to get them both to get it right?
Yeah.
He only pitched 4 seasons in the major leagues.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Felix Hernandez, even though that's wrong, because I just want something on the board.
I can name but he wasn't a rookie there. He played other places and then went to Seattle. Eddie Guardado. I know. I guessed him the other.
That's a fun one.
Not Eddie Guardado. The answer is Kazuhiro Sasaki.
This is tough.
Who was the next?
Are struggling.
Yeah.
I know we probably should have known for Fernando Valenzuela. That's on us.
We're 3 questions in. There are no points on the board.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this has ever happened before.
Chris?
You know what that means? Anyone's game.
And our 2025 Major League Baseball expert is here. We have Fabian Ardaya, who covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. And guys, on this show, if you listen, normally I try to highlight teams and players from maybe some smaller markets you're not paying attention to. We're focused on the big markets today. This has been a huge week in Major League Baseball for big market teams. And we're going to start with Fabian's Dodgers, who he covers, because maybe the biggest story in baseball was Shohei Ohtani returning to the mound. After the 50-50 season last year, he's now back on the hill, and Fabian was there to witness it. So Fabian, how did Shohei look? How does this impact the Dodgers season long term? And maybe most importantly, how insane is it in general, just to have this guy back on the mound after the offensive production we've seen the last couple of years?
Having back on the mound, especially the way the last 22, 23 or so days sort of came together, where it seemed like the Dodgers were kind of kicking the can on his rehab as long as possible. And then he goes in, starts facing hitters, and then after 3 simulated games, he's like, I'm ready to go. I want to pitch in games. You're sort of seeing a rehab assignment in front of 50,000 people. And last night, I think, obviously, the final stat line is not the most eye-popping or anything like that. He allowed a run, gave up 2 hits, didn't strike anyone out, but I think it was everything the Dodgers could have asked for, and probably a little bit more in terms of the stuff. I think they weren't expecting to see 100 in there. I'm sure they knew it was possibly in there down the line, but I don't think they expected that in his first inning back. And he hit 100 a couple times. Obviously, the off-speed stuff looked sharp. The command was in and out, but is better than you'd expect for a guy coming off a second major elbow surgery. So I think the Dodgers kind of came away with it really encouraged. And then obviously he goes back out there as the DH and gets 2 hits in the game, including bringing home a couple runs. So that's just a day in the life for Shohei Ohtani, I guess.
It is a day in the life for Shohei Ohtani, the most freakish player that we have ever or will ever see, more likely than not, in Major League Baseball. The idea that he's out there throwing 100 off his second Tommy John, when down here we're witnessing Sandy Alcantara and what it takes to try to come back from Tommy John surgery. It's pretty remarkable. But let's stick with that division in the NL West, because the Giants made the big splash of the season, probably going to end up being the biggest trade of the year, regardless of what happens at the trade deadline. They trade for Rafael Devers from the Red Sox, and we'll get into sort of the Red Sox mess in just a moment. But from the Dodgers' perspective, you've got Buster Posey at the helm, a team that's playing spectacular baseball. They might just be the story of this season. So what is your view here? What does this mean for the Giants?
I think it legitimizes them, really. And it's hard to really say it carefully without talking down on what they've accomplished, because what they've accomplished is obviously, they pushed the Dodgers to this point. There was a stretch this past weekend where they were tied for first place, and that's a testament to them, what they built, what their pitching staff has done. But you kept looking at that lineup. It's like, all right, do they have enough bats to really hang around? And now I would argue they do, especially if they can get Matt Chapman back healthy. If Patrick Bailey, when it comes to healthy, can start to turn around offensively a little bit, then you're looking at a pretty deep Giants lineup. You're looking at a bullpen that's really good. You're looking at starting pitching staff that's really good. You've seen that formula work well in that ballpark before, and Devers kind of fits exactly what they need. Obviously, there's a lot of questions about where he fits, where is he going to play. But at the end of the day, that left-handed bat is going to play even at Oracle Park. And that's kind of exactly what they needed. Obviously, there's going to be some questions long-term about how the contract sort of ages and everything like that. But if you're the Giants right now and you've swung and missed at Aaron Judge, at Bryce Harper, Shohei Ohtani over the years, you needed a big bat in that ballpark, and they finally got one.
All right, number 4. Here we go. The Athletics won back-to-back Rookie of the Years in 2004 and 2005. A shortstop and a reliever.
I'm going to go Miguel Tejada and Keith Folk.
Those are both incorrect. Jeremy, I'm going to go over to you.
Yeah, this is the issue now.
Because Tejada was on the 2002 Moneyball A's that we talked about recently.
I'm going to say the answers are Bobby Crosby and Houston Street.
Wow.
Did I get it?
Unbelievable.
Let's go!
Nice job, Jeremy. We've got one on the board. This 1997 Rookie of the Year also won Comeback Player of the Year in 2006 when he was a member of an NL West team.
Yeah, I'm just gonna guess. And I don't think it's right. I'm gonna guess Craig Counsell.
That is incorrect.
Yeah.
Board goes over to you. You were thinking Diamondbacks, Craig Counsell there?
Yeah, I was. He might have been. I know he was there earlier. I just figured maybe there was a chance there was an injury, and he came back after that.
This is a name you should be able to get.
The name that I have in my head, for some reason, I don't think won Rookie of the Year or Comeback Player of the Year. No, it's just
okay.
Rich Aurelia.
That is incorrect. The answer is Nomar.
Nomar, really?
Through 5 rounds, this is a struggle.
It's a 1-0
There
game.
is 1 point on the board. 1-0. Jeremy leads. An absolute pitcher's duel going on right now. This one, goes to Chris Cody. This 2010 Rookie of the Year also won Comeback Player of the Year in 2012 when he was a member of an NL West team.
NL West.
Should absolutely be able to get this.
I get what Taylor's doing with this.
I'm getting
really
abused.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It is really
And
hard.
I know Ethan thinks it's easy when you can look at the answers.
Yeah, but this is not. It's not as easy as it feels. I know there's a lot of people now they've been like tweeting at me and DMing me that they play trivia along with us. I'm fascinated to see this week how fans are doing.
James Loney.
Not James Loney. Jeremy, it's over to you.
Oh man, so there's two names that came into. There's three names that came into my head, but I'm gonna go with the one that has been most relevant as of recently. Buster Posey.
Nailed it.
Let's go.
This 1991 Rookie of the Year also led Major League Baseball in errors in 1999 when he developed the yips for an AL East team.
Thank God.
Chuck Knobloch.
I thought that was my turn.
My turn.
That was Jeremy's turn, and he is correct.
3-0, which means
I knew
as
that
we
one.
get to question 8,
I knew that one.
Chris not only.
Chris needs to shut you out
Yeah.
from here.
All right, let's move to the Red Sox side of things now when it comes to that Rafael Devers trade. And it seems like things generally for a team that's hanging in there in a playoff race are just a bit of a mess right now in Boston. So what's your outlook on how the Red Sox handled this situation with Devers and what things look like for them moving forward?
There is a world where you kind of look back on the trades like, all right, that actually made some sense to get off that contract to like long term. You're kind of in a position where you don't have to worry about a guy who's potentially a DH for the rest of his contract. And there is a world where that is the case. But I think you have to look at it in the grander scheme of things. Look at the last 5 years, not just with this front office, but with this ownership group. And a lot of it obviously was back to the Mookie Betts trade. What has happened to that 2018 team that won the World Series since then? You've traded Mookie Betts. You've let Xander Bogaerts walk. You've sort of traded Chris Sale only to have him win the Cy Young the next year. And now you've traded Rafael Devers. And it just seems like there's something off with the Red Sox at this point. Like it seems like, especially, like obviously, I don't think Devers is necessarily blameless in the situation, but clearly something was not communicated well to him. You're making a commitment to the player, yes, with the financials, but also it's a relationship at that point. There's a back and forth. There's a special back and forth that happens when you give a guy that kind of big contract. Devers obviously voiced where he was. I think it made most sense baseball-wise for Alex Bregman to be the third baseman, but there is a better way to communicate that, especially if you're looking at Craig Breslau, who's a guy who's a former player. You would think would kind of understand the dynamics at play there.
The irony is you go from one former player running a team to another in Buster Posey, and clearly someone who, at least to this point, has done a better job of communicating with his players what the goal is for them. And when you look back and now see that the three position players you named, Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, and Rafael Devers, all in the NL West, all anchoring separate lineups. It's pretty unbelievable for Boston fans. It's time to highlight our star of the week here on the Pitch Clock. We're always giving our analysts a couple of different stars and then giving them the choice of who to highlight. So we're going to stick with the major markets. We've done it out west. We've done it with Boston. It's time to head to New York. Two pitchers, each leading their respective leagues in ERA as starters right now. Kodai Senga with the Mets, Max Fried with the Yankees. Who stands out to you that we want to highlight here on the Pitch Clock?
Going into this winter, I'll admit I was kind of the low man on Fried, just kind of understanding the injury history there. Like, if the guy kind of comes up with some sort of forearm thing every single year, that's going to raise some red flags for me. Obviously, the Yankees, after losing out on Juan Soto, they really you look at what they've did since then, and everything kind of has worked out. He obviously has kind of anchored that rotation, especially without Garrett Cole there. And he's been everything the Yankees could have asked for. So I'm going to go with Max Fried.
You got to go with Max Fried, and he'll be a huge piece of whether or not we can ultimately see a repeat World Series matchup between those Yankees and the team Fabian covers here, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Fabian, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow him at Fabian Ardaya on Instagram, at Fabian Ardaya on Twitter. Fabian, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll have you back sometime soon, maybe as we head toward that inevitable World Series rematch. Thank you, and let's get back to our trivia game. So if Chris loses here, we can just run through the next
Correct.
couple and call it a day. So question number 8.
This one goes to Chris. This 1998 Rookie of the Year also led the National League in strikeouts in 2003 when he was a member of an NL Central team?
Chris Carpenter.
Dude, no.
No, man.
Over to you, Jeremy.
Kerry
for the win.
Wood.
Kerry Wood
Kerry
is
Wood.
the answer.
It had to be
and
Kerry
that
Wood or
is
Mark
the
Pryor.
win for
Ball game.
Jeremy. A 4-0 shutout.
4-0. I got
Yes.
4. How impressive.
I was rattled after the 1981 question.
Fernando Valenzuela ended your day. Can you give us the last
Yes.
couple questions and those
So,
answers, Ethan?
This one you should be able to, could have been able to get because it involves the Marlins. 1996 Rookie of the Year outfielder went on to win his only World Series with the Marlins in 2003. The answer is Todd Hollandsworth.
Nice.
And number
Ollie.
10, the 1997 Rookie of the Year infielder went on to win his only World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals in 2006. Recent Hall of Fame inductee, Scott Rowland.
Wow. All right. Well, we were not quite rolling today, huh?
No,
It's
I
all
would
right.
say so.
But that's
we'll
okay.
Get him next time.
I got a victory, and that's
Buster
all that
Posey.
matters. All that ultimately matters is that I won this game. So we'll see you next week on the Pitch Clock.
Folks out there in the audience, temperature's starting to turn up a little bit. That means a lot of you and your families and your friends are going outside, having a perfect grill day, maybe out by the pool. Now, imagine yourself, grill side. Your veggies, your meats, they're all prepped, ready to go. Kids running around in the background. Lawn, perfectly manicured to perfection. It all sounds pretty great. This sounds like a good time. Now you make that good time a Miller time because it is all made better with a white can in your hand of that beautiful Miller Lite. Celebrating its 50th anniversary, Miller Lite. Almost 20 years have they been partnered with our show, making your good times Miller times every time out. There's just something about a perfect grilling day. Sun's out, friends show up, that first sip of Miller Lite, it just hits different. I've been stocking the cooler with Miller Lite for years on these grilling days, and for good reason. It's brewed for taste, and it's only 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs. This year, Miller Lite turns 50. That's 5 decades of cookouts, laughs, and ice-cold moments that never miss. It's the original light beer, and it's still my go-to. Great beer, great times. Grill on. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.